Hey there, Aquarius. This is Seven Scorpion Tarot, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So, tonight, I was just checking out the celestial weather, and looks like the only thing in our sign is Pluto. I'm an Aquarius rising. Um, and that was the talk of the town. I was just talking about this in the collective reading that I just did. Uh, that Pluto was going into Aquarius. It was Pluto and Aquarius and Capricorn, and that's all I was hearing about, and now nothing. Nothing. Now that signs have changed. Okay, are we just all preoccupied with Mars retrograde, or what are we doing? But so let's do a self, shadow, and ego, and just kind of see, get a feel for maybe what's going to be transformative in the year of nine for us. Uh, Maybe something lurking beneath the surface, since it was such big news, and then it just went quiet. Maybe an aspect of ourselves that doesn't want to be seen, that doesn't want to be addressed. Very shadowy, very Hades. So let's start shuffling for the self. Let's see. I hope you guys are having a good start to your year. I hope if you are over there on the West Coast in the States here that you're staying safe in that apocalyptic scene. That looks pretty bad over there. And it doesn't seem like it's improving as of yet. Let's see. Card for the self. And for those of you that aren't super into astrology, I'm still kind of getting to learn really what the interpretations are of like the different placements themselves. Like, what does it mean when I say I'm an Aquarius rising? Like, what does that mean? Uh, and one interpretation I've mentioned here is that it's the persona aspect of your psyche. But on your chart, what I understand that it means is that it's the sign that was on the eastern, like rising in the eastern sky when you were born. And it's like the most personal to you. Okay, we got two. So the King of Rods, King of Wands, and Two of Cups. Okay, Aquarius. Something on your mind? Somebody on your mind? Yarrow, love tonic, passion tincture. But how do I put this? Delicately. Uh, the King of Rods is generally a male in the throes of passion. Very phallic. Uh, but that in the self position with the Two of Cups. So you could be in that animus yang energy in regards to a connection, or even like in regards to your own psyche. that could be the space that you are occupying more strongly. Like you could be leaning into that a bit more. Because I haven't quite made sense of how to describe my thoughts on this. I don't know if I've even really cleared up my own thoughts on this, but it's like I see it as we can be in either that yin or yang energy, and then our consciousness is what it is, like our essence can express itself into that yin or yang, that animus or anima. Like, I don't know, it gets a little convoluted. And I mean, I recognize sunflower on here. I don't recognize the little red flower, but that's very like spring. And sunflowers are so tall too, just very taking up space that you maybe have mastered or have fully stepped into, fully realized that animus side of yourself. Maybe there's a need for balance, that since the cups are coming out, the emotional side or the suit of emotions, rather, and in a smaller number as well, a two, that you could be at the beginning stages of that more receptive yin energy of, okay, I've got dominion over my will. What about my emotions? Like, and that's very Aquarius to be navigating that in such an intellectual way. I'm going to start shuffling for the shadow. And I kind of got stuck in that space too. That overthinkingness is just very air energy. A lot of mind vibes in that. Could be some of that slow moving Plutonian energy. So 6 of Cups, 6 of Elixirs, and it kind of did a topsy turvy. So I'm going to read that sideways as in motion in the shadow. Mm. This is this is coming out in a way I don't like to read. Like it's coming out in kind of a literal way. Uh, that the past is going to try and pop up. Now, if they do, you need to tell me, and you need to tell me that I can, in fact, see into the future, and somebody is going to need to let me know. uh, but you can also read this reflectively as well, that maybe there's something from that subconscious mind, an emotion of the past coming up to be balanced out, utilizing receptive, like Empress Yin energy. that there's something that you may not be able to utilize that more outward, like doer vibe to address, like to work through whatever it is. Maybe it's energy from the past, a memory, a past situation, like showing up in a different form, like a lesson yet to be completely learned, completely mastered, that previously you may have utilized a more masculine approach, a more yang approach to it, when yin is the more prudent path. And for some reason, like yin yoga is coming to mind. I don't know if there's yang yoga. There's definitely yin. Hmm. That might be something to try though, like get out of the head and into the body more, of get out of that swirling mental energy, those ruts, um, and into an activity. Because this is in motion, you might need to be in motion to sort this out. And it's kind of like I'm going to start shuffling for the ego. How do I put this? It's kind of like when you solve something when you didn't mean to, like when you're just doing like mindless work, like putting away the laundry or cooking or something, and then you just like figure out something for work that you've been stuck on or whatever, or sort out some sort of problem for your homework or something. Like it just kind of comes to you. Maybe that's what's needed for whatever it is you're dealing with. So, a card for the ego. How are how are we interacting with the outside world? And this may have extra emphasis on the persona aspect of the ego, since I was talking about rising sign, temperance, patience, uh, Archangel Michael, and protect that big Aquarian brain, or hold it gently. But another like balance aspect, and actually this also does all seem very balanced. Like the skull is sitting on top of the rod. A 2 is a balanced number. 6 is a balanced number. And you can turn this sideways and it's still balanced, and upright it's still balanced. And 2 hemispheres of the brain, that's balanced too. So balance, balance, balance. Maybe go try the balance beam. Try pogo stick. Something like that. Let's see. Let's get a underlying energy. Maybe that's what your ego needs, is some balance. Is that it can be so easy for us to get caught up in that intellectualization and disregard the emotional pieces as being like less important. And I blame the structure of our society for that, for sure. Anomaly. And an Aquarius in touch with their emotions, maybe that's an anomaly. uh, Interesting. So 6 crows total. So a balanced number, one is an anomaly. But I don't feel like that makes this unbalanced. It's still one within the group, doesn't have any change on the whole. I want to see what the book says and give me a little bit more guidance. Anomaly. In a sea of black crows, the one that grabs our attention is the rare melanin lacking one. Something is going to appear, and it will be hard not to notice or avoid it. It is strikingly clear that what you encounter will be abnormally good or perhaps abnormally bad. Either way, it will stand out in some way. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe everything is so balanced, there's an anomaly coming in to shake things up. So, anomaly may appear if you are contemplating an event within a relationship. You may find yourself questioning if someone's behavior, good or bad, serves an indication of who they truly are or if the situation was a rare event and out of character. Sometimes we just need to have one small encounter, an outlier, to understand a greater potential or to be able to rule out an absolute. Hmm. Do you have someone coming forward who seems really balanced, but they're not? Because this all seemed like perfectly balanced, like everything's flowing, and then anomaly. And it, like, now this is making me think of like you blink and you miss it kind of behavior. Like, have you ever been in one of those situations with somebody that, like, if you had just looked away, if you had blinked, if you had coughed, if you had sneezed or something, you would have never, like, picked up on something, but you didn't. Like, you just, like, right timing happened to catch some just weird little behavior that made that little internal alarm system go, what's that? What's that about? What's going on over there? Hmm? That's your limbic system. Uh, I don't know if I read this somewhere or if I brought it up from the depths of my mind, but the limbic system doesn't lie. And that's a phrase I try to live by because the limbic system, like, it's your threat detection system, the like the fight or flight. all it's doing is giving you information of like it's just a like a radar system that's going, hey, hey, hey. Like it doesn't judge, it's not drawing conclusions. That's what your brain is for. But your limbic system is just like when someone looks at you funny, like a really quick expression that they were trying to hide, or like a snide comment or an inflection that slipped through or something like that, that your system was just like, hey, what's that? WTF. Uh, that's my flag going up, my internal flag. And I've spent so many years suppressing mine that now I'm retraining myself to listen to it, because the type of conditioning I received was to disregard that, was to disregard the hey, that my brain was like throwing at me, those gut feelings. And it led to me being very susceptible to things like gaslighting and manipulation, betrayal, stuff like that. Uh, and this is pretty stark. I feel like this is way more obvious than what you may see IRL. And your limbic system throwing up a flag doesn't mean that's like a bad person or they are a threat necessarily. It's just saying, hey, something is amiss. It's just information. I'm trying to think of a good example for that. I can't really think of one. Uh, oh, I've got a smartwatch, and when I was interacting with someone, I was sitting down and I got a high heart rate alert. I was just sitting down talking to them. I was like, what's that about? And I was being gaslit in that situation. Uh, I didn't realize it at the time because that it's so insidious. Uh, and such a buzzword too. Like there's a content creator, Dr. Ramani. She is an expert on gaslighting. I would, if you're curious about educating yourself on that topic, check out her channel. Uh, not a this is not sponsored, this is not endorsement, like etc. Uh, but she is an expert, and she's not using that term colloquially. She's using it clinically, really like masterclass stuff. And but that little alert from my smartwatch was enough to give me a this needs to be examined. Like I didn't do that in the moment. I just let it play out of like just watch and see what happens, like go into observer mode. And I don't know if I would have caught that without that little alert from my watch. Because the complicated thing about gaslighting is like a stranger at the bus stop cannot gaslight you. That you don't have the relationship with them for that to even be possible. They have to have um you guys have to have trust. They have to have some level of expertise on you to be able. to manipulate you like that at that level. And like a power dynamic, something like that, like something of that nature, like between a spouse or someone that's got like authority over you or something like that. Um, it can't just be like one random stranger. It's just not possible. And that's not, those are not hard, fast rules. Those are just some examples of really what gaslighting truly is. And it can go on for years, years and years and years and years before you see that anomaly of, hey, what was that? Like, why did my heart rate shoot to over 150 BPM while I was sitting down all of a sudden? That's a pretty big indicator that something happened. Just in my situation, it was definitely gaslighting, and that person needed to not be present in my life anymore. Uh, but I would just take that cue from your limbic system, if that is something that happens to you, of this requires additional examination. And after you've stepped away from that situation, after you've taken some time to get a little more removed from it, you could even uh like jot down notes, like journals, and then set it on the shelf effectively, and like, oop, I need to, you know, rest, like take a breath. And my advice, if possible, if safe, so on and so forth, if you do need to write it down before you step away from that situation, from that topic or whatever, do it before you sleep, before you go through that brain recycling and whatnot. And then you can just like set it down and walk away from it for however long you need to, whatever works for you. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.